Good morning and a very warm welcome to this week's final edition of the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. As always, we are ready with the details on this morning's top news items from here at home and around the world. You can stay tuned with us for the news in detail. Of course, this morning's top story concerns the Indian Prime Minister's visit to Sri Lanka. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will arrive in Sri Lanka on an official visit tonight. The official welcoming ceremony for the Indian Prime Minister will be held tomorrow morning at the Independence Square in Colombo. Now, during his visit, Indian Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to hold bilateral discussions with President Anurakumara Dissanayake. Several agreements between the two countries are also expected to be signed during this visit. The Indian Prime Minister is scheduled to visit and obtain blessings from the Jai Shri Mahabodhi in Anuradhapura during his visit as well. The government says that the Indian Prime Minister is scheduled to inaugurate the solar power plant being built in Sampur and the railway signalling system being built from Mahava to Anuradhapura with Indian financial aid. Meanwhile, police media spokesperson, Senior Superintendent of Police Buddhika Manatunga said that a special traffic and security plan is in place in line with the Indian Prime Minister's visit to Sri Lanka. He said that several roads in Colombo, including the Colombo-Katunayake Expressway and the Baseline Road, will be closed for traffic on several locations from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. today. The police media spokesperson advised that individuals arriving at the Katunayake Bandaranaike International Airport during this period are advised to plan their travel arrangements accordingly, considering these temporary road closures. He further added that on the 5th of April, that is tomorrow, roads around the Golf Face Green in Colombo and surrounding areas of the Independence Square, as well as roads close to the Apegama premises in Battaramulla, will also be intermittently closed. He said that motorists who use these roads will be directed to alternative routes in order to minimize traffic congestion during this time. With that, let's move on to more local news now. As we all know, President Donald Trump has by now imposed reciprocal tariffs on several countries, and Sri Lanka is among the top 5 on the list with 44% of reciprocal tariffs as of now. The committee that has been appointed to study these reciprocal tariffs will convene today. Minister Professor Anil Jain stated that the committee is scheduled to discuss the potential impact of this new tariff policy of the US on Sri Lanka's economy and the measures that will be taken accordingly by the government. The committee members met with President Anurakumara Dissanayake last evening. Professor Anil Jain Fernando stated that the committee's recommendations will likely be conveyed to the President today, and further action will be taken following this. The committee includes officials such as the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, the Governor of the Central Bank, the Chairman of the Sri Lanka Board of Investment, the Chairman of the Sri Lanka Export Development Board, and Director General of Economic Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Presidential Senior Economic Advisor Duminda Hulangamua, Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce Senior Economic Policy Advisor Sharan Fernando, and Ashraf Omar, Sharaf Amalian and Saif Jafferji are also among the members of this committee. US President Donald Trump signed an executive order imposing tariffs on goods imported into the United States from all countries in the world in line with his election campaign promise. According to this executive order, a 10% tariff will be imposed on goods imported into the US from all countries from the 5th of April onwards. In addition, tariffs ranging from 20% to 50% are scheduled to be imposed on more than 25 countries from the 9th of April onwards. And according to the US President's new executive order, a 44% reciprocal tariff will be imposed on goods imported from Sri Lanka to the United States. Let's move on to more local news now. 4 police teams have been deployed to investigate the shooting of a businessman in Kumarakanda, Kikkadua. Now, the incident occurred last night when 2 men on a motorbike opened fire on a 61-year-old businessman and his wife. The businessman was killed in the shooting while his 54-year-old wife was injured and is currently receiving treatment at the Karapitia Teaching Hospital. Well, the Sahal Mangalya, or the New Rice Festival, is scheduled to take place this morning near the Sri Mahabodhi in Anuradhapura under the patronage of President Anura Kumara Dissanayaka. The theme of the 58th Sahal Mangalya is Aharin Surakshita Dayak Udasa Ekamitata Govi Bimata, which loosely translates to towards a secure nation through united efforts in agriculture. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Transport Board has announced that special transportation facilities will be provided to devotees travelling to Kandy to witness the exposition of the sacred tooth relic of Lord Buddha, which is scheduled to commence on the 18th of April. Deputy General Manager of the SLTB, PSRT Chandrasiri, stated that these transport services will be operational until the 28th of this month. Accordingly, special SLTB bus services will operate from every major city in the island to Kandy. Chandrasiri also stated that during the period of the exposition of the sacred tooth relic, a circular bus service will operate from 4 locations in Kandy to facilitate the travelling in private vehicles to reach the vicinity of the temple of the tooth relic. Now, this exposition, which begins at 3:30 p.m. on the 18th of April, will be open until 5:30 p.m. on that day. From the 19th to the 28th of this month, the Dalada exposition will be open from 12 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Meanwhile, the Department of Examinations has announced that the Grade 5 scholarship examination of this year will take place on the 10th of August. Applications will be accepted online starting tomorrow and will remain open until the 30th of April. For additional details, the applicants can visit the Department of Examinations official website or contact the hotline 1911. Meanwhile, a new program has been launched to educate police officers about the Local Government Elections Act of Sri Lanka and the Election Expenditure Regulation Act. Commissioner General of Elections, Saman Sri Ratnayaka, said that the awareness sessions are being conducted at district level. The program will also include training on the resolution of election-related disputes. Senior officers of police will also participate in these training sessions. Ratnayaka said that the officers in charge, or OICs, of several districts, including Badulla, Nuwara Eliya and Kandy, have already been informed about this. Police officers in the Ratnapura district are expected to be briefed today. And finally, on to your weather forecast for this morning. The Met Department says that showers or thunder showers will occur at most places of the island during the afternoon or night. Showers may occur in the western, southern and northwestern coastal areas during the morning hours as well. Heavy showers of 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central, northwestern and north central provinces. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabaragamuwa, Uba and north central provinces during the morning. And as always, the general public is requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. With that, let's move on to news overseas now. Earlier, we mentioned how President Donald Trump has imposed tariffs on multiple countries around the world. Let's take a look at the impact this has had on the global stock market. Now, international media report that global stocks have fallen sharply and the US dollar hit a 6-month low after Donald Trump unveiled sweeping tariffs against the US's global trade partners in a move that is expected to upend supply chains and cause economic turmoil worldwide. European marketers were down across the board on Thursday after a sharp sell-off across Asia, and US futures signaled similar falls when Wall Street opens. Now, in London, the Financial Times Stock Exchange 100 Index, or FTSE 100, fell 1.5%. Germany's DAX was down 2.3%, and France's CAC was off 2.5%. The dollar sank nearly 2% against a basket of foreign currencies, including the pound, which was up more than 1.5 cents at $1.31. The Deutsche Bank sent a note warning clients to beware a dollar confidence crisis. US futures also suffered, with the Dow futures pointing at losses of 2.7% and the broader S&P 500 futures falling about 3.4%. Now, the tech-focused Nasdaq index of the United States was also down 3.8% pre-market. Futures for Nasdaq were the hardest hit of the three main markets, down 3.5%, with constituents such as Apple, which still has large exposure to China, plunging 7%. Nike took a similar dive of 7.3%. AI chipmaker Nvidia dropped 5.6%, and Tesla tanked more than 8%. Shifting your attention to South Korea, as we know, South Korea has been in quite the political crisis with impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol's decision still pending, in fact. Now, supporters and opponents of South Korea's President Yoon Suk Yeol are taking to the streets of Seoul as the Constitutional Court is due to rule on whether or not he should be impeached. Yoon's short-lived declaration of martial law last December plunged the country into political turmoil. His powers were suspended when Parliament voted to impeach him. But now, a panel of judges will rule on whether that decision will be upheld. If Yoon is impeached, a snap election must be held in 60 days. And if he is not impeached, he regains power immediately in South Korea. Yoon also faces a separate charge of insurrection and will go on trial at a later date. Well, with that, we bring to a close this week's final edition of the Breakfast Rundown. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. I'll see you once again on Monday, the 7th of April 2025, with more of the very latest from here at home and around the world. Until then, take care, have a wonderful day and weekend ahead.